Good morning. My name is Lucinda Rowe.
Lois Charbois.
Ling Antido.
Ross Antido.
My name is Sonia Payne Robertson.
Gary Richardson.
Cheryl Patterson Sims.
Beatrice Harris.
Carl Smith.
Billie Jean Wood. Frierson now.
Carol James. Katarina Barrett.
My name is Emmett Jones.
Cheryl Jackson Harris.
Barbara Johnson.
Felicia Johns.
My name is Evelyn Payne.
Gloria Michelle Ross Wilkerson.
Rosa Bello.
My name is Christopher Robertson.
Joey Manning.
Leonard Daniel.
Kathleen Charles.
Linda L. Blair.
Keisha Newton.
I'm Congresswoman Diane Edith Watson.
Cynthia Richardson.
Kwame Nkrumah Cain.
Mia Robertson.
John Watkins.
Anna Marie Smith.
Leo Hill Jackson.
Chris Newton.
My name is Barry.
Anita Martinez.
I'm Vanita Marie.
Joanne Osby.
Timothy Irving.
Chantel Garcia.
I'm James Martin. This is my mom, Frances Martin.
Betty Jo McKinney. My name is Grace King.
Deacon Mark Race.
My name is Reverend Mr. Gregory Patterson.
My name is Griselda Boville.
We are the Blades family. I'm Helen Blades. My husband is Stephen Blades. My daughter is Afania Blades, and my son Stephen Blades Jr.
My name is Nicholas Gibbs.
Sister Kathleen.
I'm Jan Llewellyn.
My name is Chris Robertson.
Mabel Simon.
My name is Elizabeth Quinn.
My name is Victoria Adams.
My name is Yvette Rowland.
Tiffany Cohen.
Sister Edith.
My name is Sharon Eason.
My name is Oscar Pratt.
My name is Father Godwin Akpan SSJ. What makes Transfiguration unique? I love the spiritual heritage, the people, because it's the people that I came to serve.
And one of the things I love about Transfiguration is about always have is that you've always been a faith community that is so loving and always reached out to everyone. I remember back in the days when this church was just jam-packed with people, and everybody who came to visit always said that this is a very loving church, a very welcoming church to everyone. And I just pray that our church will be filled again.
I think maybe my special memory is some of the activities that we used to have around the before Lent during Mardi Gras, and it reminds me of some of the experiences I had when I would go visit Louisiana, Opelousas in New Orleans, where my parents and my mother is from.
Well, because we have such a long history, we got married here. I baptized in 1968. I got married. I baptized my first child here, and well, since my husband's passed, so he's been gone about 7 years. But he went to school here. He attended Transfiguration Elementary School, and we just always came back. No matter where we moved to and lived, we would always come back and attend Mass from time to time.
I started here when I was 5 years old. We attended church and I attended the school. I got married here. My husband became Catholic while we were attending here. I had both my children baptized here as well. And the three of us graduated from Transfiguration Elementary School.
I do like when we had our picnics at the park. That was very nice. Just the togetherness that they tried to build within the church and the community.
Being a member of Transfiguration for over 60 years, I keep coming back because I love this church. I grew up in this church. I was in my early 20s, a new mom, and my children were baptized here as babies, and now they're in their 50s and 60s.
I have a story to share about Transfiguration. On May 1st, 1976, I got married at Transfiguration Catholic Church, and I have this beautiful photo of it. And Father Fisher Robinson, the high school principal at Bourbon Day High School, married my husband and I. And this picture is a picture of us standing on the outside steps of Transfiguration after we arrived. And we've been in this neighborhood ever since.
The memory that I have with Transfig is that we have so much love here.
And it's a people church, you know, that like to gather and have fun. And our biggest event here is our fish fry. We love our parishioners and also the members that's not parishioners here that comes to our fish fry. And this is once a year that we would have it, and we would have it during Lent. And that's one of the biggest memories that I have at Transfig.
You had the great fish fries that went on always during the Lent. The Knights of Peter Claver did a fabulous job. It was like, if there's anything that a parish could have, that would be like a, what would you call it, like a high school homecoming? Mm-hmm. This was Transfiguration's homecoming. So people that may have been away for a while, they would come back during the fish fry, and families would get reunited, and folks who maybe one or two members of the family still lived there around the parish, but others had moved away, they would come back and they would celebrate on a Friday. So great fish fry and cherry bells, we used to call it. It was kind of fun to watch them sell these cherry bells, and somebody would win. It was like a little lottery, these cherry bells. But that was just a good community building event, and the Knights of Peter Claver and the Ladies of Peter Claver, you know, worked together on that. And as I recall, that was just a lot of fun for the 8 years that I was there.
My most memorable experience was my wife's funeral. There were a lot of things that happened and went on, but the most memorable experience for me was I officiated at my wife's funeral. And how the church and the community helped make that happen, made it more memorable, because it was during the pandemic. So it was a lot more difficult situation because people wanted to be there.
I remember when my daughter was in a real bad car accident, and how the parish rallied around us, and how supportive the pastor at the time was, and the membership. It was just amazing. And so I think that, once again, because I was a part of giving, they certainly you know, gave back to me, and that's one of the things that will resonate in my life forever, is how good they were to us when we needed them as a parish.
Special memory is, of course, graduating 8th grade here, being with the same friends, the same classmates from kindergarten to 8th grade, that continuity, that family, and then also being educated by the nuns here. The nuns really instilled a strong value of discipline, education, and camaraderie that's helped me to this day in life.
Family was great at Transfiguration. We used to come here like every birthday or whatever anniversary we have, and like if they have like breakfast or whatever, we all gonna sit and eat and talk. And we always have a family togetherness here at Transfig.
Yeah, when I was about 10 years old, there was an usher here who had a limp, and he always kind of got my attention. He would give me little candy sometime. And 10 years later, I was watching a TV show, and they were talking about the Tuskegee Airmen, and he was on the show. So that guy was a Tuskegee Airman who was our usher here.
Well, the experience, I can say that all the experience that I have here was great and wonderful. First of all, the people here consider you as a family. And the priests, you know, all the priests I've gone through here, from Father Mike, Marcel Martini, Father Tang, and Deacon Mark, and they have been hospitable, and I believe as an African, the interaction was accommodating. And then now we have Father Father Godwin, you know, and everything is bubbling and exciting, you know. So I'm lucky I'm still here.
I would say obviously my graduation from here is special. I'm going to say graduations because mine was in 1971. My son, seeing him walk down the aisle for graduation in 1998. Then I watched my nephew Tristan come down, I think in 2010. I missed Brendan's graduation in 2013 because my child was graduating from DePaul University with a master's on the same day. So I didn't get to see his graduation, but I went to his graduation party. So I would say watching the graduations and then the sacraments as well. All of my son's sacraments were obtained here at Transfig, baptism, communion, and it happened to be Transfig's turn for his confirmation. So his confirmation was here the morning after his senior prom.
It's always the picnic. That's special for Transfiguration. It's very unique. You know, it's the gathering of, I mean, you really see the tight-knit community during the picnic. That's a standout for being a part of Transfiguration.
One that I'll never forget was in 1994 when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I went through my treatment. In the meantime, it was my friend, she was a Eucharistic minister and she was very active in the church. And she, after I completed my treatment, then she had a reoccurrence of her cancer. And after she gave me that information, then I was at my house thinking if there was some way possible for her to go to Lourdes. I asked God to let that happen. So the following Sunday when I attended Mass, Father Dolan, who was the pastor at that time, announced that the Knights of Malta was sponsoring my friend Alicia's trip to Lourdes for a pilgrimage. So then she approached me and she asked me would I like to be her companion. And I told her yes. So she told me she would, you know, ask Father Dolan if I could go along as her companion. And when I went to work, she called me at work the next day and she told me, Father has approved for you to go as my companion and you don't have to pay. So I was sitting at work and I was so overjoyed, I just started crying, and my fellow employee friends, they couldn't understand why I was crying, and I told them I just couldn't tell them what was happening at the time.
During the pandemic, I had a grandson. I'm a senior grandmother at 75. My daughter is a senior mother who birthed at age 50. And so we were able to get our grandson. He was a miracle child baptized. And that was through Deacon Greg facilitated us to get a baptism.
Probably one of my fondest memories, I think, are the summer picnics that we would have at Kennethon Park. I mean, it was just awesome that every year the church would have a different theme. See, some things would be Hawaiian or Caribbean, and it was just awesome just to see the breadth of culture we have here within our parish, and to see how it was expressed and can be expressed in some of the events we had, especially with the annual church picnic.
Well, when I moved over here on Harcourt, the church members have changed, and those people that came from other areas went back over east, west, and so on. And this church became a church that really represented the community. And that's why I appreciate it. Wherever I am, and when I travel abroad, I know it's home to my own community and Transfiguration.
I started coming to Transfiguration approximately 25 years ago. I would always come with Ambassador Congresswoman Emeritus Diane E. Watson. Whenever we traveled together, out of the country, out of the state, wherever we were, always on special celebrations, nights, like for instance, Christmas Eve, midnight mass, Easter, all special celebrations, we always came together.
This past year, because I just recently retired this year in May of 2023, I was able to fully commit to the Lenten journey, the 40-day experience. And it was amazing to be able to come to the Stations of the Cross, then follow up by the fish fry and fellowship with the community members, because not only was it just our church, but surrounding churches were fellowshipping in the hall. Then we did the week, Holy Week. We did Thursday service, Friday, Good Friday service. We walked around the entire church, and then we came back for the Passions, the Passions ceremony. And for me, over the years, I have never been able to fully experience that combination of children, work, and just scheduling. So that was really beautiful leading up to then Easter Sunday. It was a really beautiful experience.
The memories I cherish are the ones of our friends at the church picnic. The fun and games and the being together and the working together and the teamwork. Those are my favorite memories, that we all could be together.
You mentioned Father Mike, and Father Mike was living here in residence, but he was the chaplain, LAPD chaplain for many years. And I don't remember exactly how long ago, it's been maybe 4 or 5 years ago, he had a special mass for veterans, and I am a veteran of Vietnam era.
Thank you.
And it was even more meaningful for me because this is my home, and it's like being welcomed home again, in a very special way.
I was lucky enough to be married to the building contractor who did all of the grounds around here. He had a crew that worked with him, and I'm sure he did everything in the church, the school, and the hall.
He's painted the church inside and out. He's built the carport. He's remodeled the rectory and the convent, as well as the Knights of St. Peter Claver room.
And I remember when he helped when the altar was changed, where we would face the congregation. They removed the communion rail and they turned the altar around, and different things like that inside of the church. It's been a big difference where they moved some of the pews. And I thought the most amazing thing when I came here, they had the nativity scene in the area we now call the cry room. The nativity scene had life-size statues. The 3 wise men had velvet robes, with gold etchings on them. I thought that was the most beautiful thing. I had never seen a life-size scene. So now we have a smaller one, and I think about the older one we had. Beautiful.
Oh, what is your husband's name?
My husband's name?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
James Martin Sr. And he had a company called J&FM Building Company Incorporated.
My family joined Transfiguration in 1964, so we've been here 59 years plus.
Wonderful.
And this is my husband and my daughter and I, and we've been married for 67 years. And so, but Transfiguration has just been a wonderful part of our lives. My daughter was baptized here. I have 2 nieces. And my daughter graduated from here in 1978. I have a niece that graduated, which my family sponsored in 2018. And then my last niece just graduated 2023 from Transfiguration.
When my mom passed away in 2009, I spoke with Father Martini, and he did her memorial service because she passed during Lenten season, and but she was not a member of this parish, but for me, he said that I could hold, since I was a registered parishioner here, and the service and the homily that he did during that time, even though it was modified because of Lenten season, it really spoke to the type of person that my mom was. And instead of feeling sad, it made it more of a joyous type occasion and a celebration of her life.
Special memory, lots of memories. I did catechism here, so I did almost all of my sacraments here except for baptism. So First Holy Communion, I remember going to confirmation, getting married here, then having my children baptized here, and then they'll be doing their First Holy Communion, so a lot of great memories and just that feeling of community and belonging and faith, and a strong faith foundation here at Transfiguration.
My parents, Barbara and Milton Keys, moved into the parish in 1964-65, and we've been here ever since. Even though I've moved to Inglewood, I still attend church here at Transfiguration. My son attended elementary school here and graduated in 1983.
Yeah, Transfiguration has really kind of brought me in as a member of the family. I also like that I think churches like Transfiguration are like a beacon of hope in the community, which is, very much needed at this time.
I came to Transfiguration in the last week of August 2022. Precisely, I was here on the last Sunday of August to start my ministry as assigned by my Superior General, Bishop John Ricord. So I'm barely 9 months here at Transfiguration.
I started attending Transfiguration way back in the 1950s as a kid. So I've been here with almost 65 years. So I've seen a lot of changes here at Transfiguration. Beautiful church. And let's see, I am the very first deacon here at Transfiguration. We've only had one deacon, that's me. And interesting story about that, because I remember being here at this church, there was always a group of ladies who now precede me that used to always say that they were praying for me to become a priest when I became a deacon. But they felt that they saw something in me, and they prayed and prayed and prayed. And here I am as a deacon with the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, serving here at the Church of the Transfiguration.
I went as pastor in 1996 to Transfiguration, and I couldn't believe, I've always loved that area, and my first meeting was with Kay Murphy. She was a wonderful lady. She had the rose garden next to the church, and she showed me how to get into the rectory. Eula Wilkes, Eula answered the door, and she was this most charming voice and lovely presence, and I think, wow, what a parish. I mean, she's so inviting. Joanne, she was the secretary. Mabel Simon, she was in the rectory. I mean, there were so many wonderful people that were so kind and so accepting of me. And Mr. Dijon, he was Mr. D, everybody called him, Ferdinand Dijon. He was in charge of the money of the parish. But it was such a delight.
Got my bachelor's degree in philosophy with a minor in Spanish. And then I started to study theology, which is the graduate level of seminary. And while I was there, I read a book called God of the Oppressed by an author named James Cone. And he was kind of the foremost scholar of African-American theology. And something about that book really struck me. And so by my third year in theology, I actually came towards South Central. A couple of wonderful women, Emily Lewis and let me think, Jean, what was Jean's last name? And Marion Fussy. And those three women kind of mentored me, and I think there was a Capuchin Franciscan at the time. And we had a wonderful summer program. It was like how to teach folks to work within the African American Catholic community. And so it got in my heart, and I've ever since that point wanted to serve in the African American Catholic community. Finally, when I got a chance to be a pastor, Transfiguration Parish was one of the available parishes, and I asked the Cardinal if he'd let me out of my job as a vocation director to serve as pastor at Transfiguration. And he agreed, and so I got assigned to Transfig in about the year 2002. So that's when I came and started working as the pastor at Transfiguration.
I was administrator here at Transfiguration for close to 7 years. I remember Bishop Clark, and we were at the ancestral mass that they have at St. Odevia's, and he said to me, "I'm going to need to talk to you." So after the mass, he said, "If I need you, would you go to Transfiguration?" And I was like, well, there's a deacon at Transfiguration. Why would you need 2 deacons at Transfiguration? I don't want you to go there as the deacon. If it comes about, I want you to go there as administrator. And then on a Friday, I got a call that said, from the Bishop Clark's office, says, "We want you to go to Transfiguration." And I said, "When?" He said, "Monday." So normally you go in and people know who you are, you have a key. I came here and I had to knock on the door. And the door opened, and Joanne opened the door and she said, "Yes, can I help you?" So that's how it started.
There's so many things about Transfiguration. My sister, my cousin Margaret Ann, and I would always sit under the Station of the Cross where Veronica wipes the face of Jesus, because my sister's name is Veronica. And my cousin, who passed away during the pandemic, loved Transfig. So it's been home, and I love that. But I just remember sitting in the pew, and Liz Quinn came up to me and said, "Would you be a lector?" And I had just been a member of the parish and not an active member. And her just embracing me and offering me the opportunity to have a greater role in it is always going to touch my heart.
You know, my strongest memories over the years have been, for years I helped with the Rite of Christian Initiation of Adults, RCIA, and to see the Spirit working in people who were planning on joining the church, and then actually which awakened the Spirit in me even more than it was. Those are some of my strongest memories. There actually were 2 men who both I thought were Catholic. You know, they'd come every week, they'd come with their wives, they brought their families, but they were not Catholic. And at one point, they decided it was time to join. So getting to know all of those people and their stories and seeing how the Spirit worked in them and their growth has been one of the best things for me, both as a person and as a Catholic.
I guess it's when I became a member of the Ladies Auxiliary. It was, you know, that was a very, not only important for me, but it was a very memorable day.
I came about the same time because this was the closest church Catholic church that had a Knights of Columbus domicile. And I am a 25 member of the Knights of Peter Claver. And Columbus too.
I've been in many ministries in the church. I'm over the bereavement committee. I'm in Safeguard the Children. And the special events committee. I co-chair with that. What else do I do? I do so much in the church.
The connection between my school life and my church life. The choir director, Mr. Pratt, hired me to teach at the elementary school, and that was my first job as a teacher, so I did new teacher training academy and all kinds of things, and then I've since continued in education where I've been for about 30 years now. So I like, again, the connection between the school and the church that we have here at Transfiguration.
I started attending actually when my nieces and nephews started going to school here, so to support them, and they would invite me to various things, and I found the atmosphere welcoming and comforting, so I stayed and I never left, and I became a lector when one Thanksgiving they had an open mic, so to speak, and I stood up there and said a few things that I was thankful for, and a woman named Kay Murphy, some of you will remember Kay Murphy, came up to me and says, "Can I speak with you?" And I'm like, what did I do wrong? And it turned out that she was the sponsor, the teacher, the coach of the lectors, and she invited me to be a lector. This was in the early 1980s, and I'm still here.
I've been a member here since 1966, and all of the different organizations that I've been to that I can name and keep naming, but I won't. But one of them in particular that I am a charter member of is St. Vincent de Paul. And I've been there since, I think it's 35 years I've been a member, and I'm also a charter member. So I'm the only living member that when we first opened Transfiguration here. And right now I'm an usher, Eucharistic minister, and the bereavement committee. These are all, and it's more than that, but that's some of the names that I wanted to put out.
I'm part of the parish council. I'm in the Knights of Peter Claver Ladies Auxiliary. I'm also in the choir, which I enjoy. I'm a weekday lector. I am a liaison for Sacred Heart Retreat House. I am the district captain, so that we try to get ladies from our parish to go to silent retreats at Sacred Heart Retreat House. Over the years, I've done a number of things. I've tried to work with RCIA because it was so good for me that I also teach that whenever we have candidates. So I do participate with that. So I think that Father has a slogan that you know, the reward for work is more work. I think and that's good. I think that's good. So I do like to continue, even as, you know, as I'm maturing, I still want to be active in the church, and I think that's very important to me, to be here for daily masses as well as weekend masses, and do whatever it is that I can to help build that spirit that we need within this church.
So right now I primarily participate in the media ministry. So my son and I produce the live stream on Sundays. I assist in maintaining the church website. As needed, I'm a Eucharistic minister. So those are probably the main ministries I participate in. I'm also a member of the Pastoral Council. So God has blessed me to be a member there and just to serve in a different capacity. So I love the various ways I can serve the Lord, serve His church, and serve our family community.
I'm part of the Pastoral Council. That's a new ministry that I'm currently in. But I'm also a member of the Associates for the Sisters of Blessed Sacrament, and I'm an associate for the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet. And that has been a ministry, two ministries that I have been in for quite a number of years. And one of my favorite things that I do is to be a mom for new seminarians that are coming from Africa.
I'd like to thank the deacons, the choir directors, and everyone who attends Transfiguration in the body of Christ for just being one family during all this time that I've been here. And I'd like to give a special appreciation to Liz Elizabeth Quinn, who is the director of the lectors, and she invited me to be one, and I am enjoying that opportunity and sharing the Word of God at Mass, and I really appreciate her. Thank you.
And what keeps me coming back is the friendliness, the people I've known for quite some time. They know me, if not by name, by face. I've been a member of the choir since 2004, and I've also been a member of St. Vincent de Paul for about 15 years, and the choir, the Transfiguration 50 plus. Been a member since in my 50s.
The parish, I have been, at first I did not volunteer or anything, I was just coming to Mass. And then they, one weekend they had a ministry fair, and all of the ministries that were on the campus were available for you to join. And that's when I started, and I started volunteering and have been doing so ever since.
I started attending Transfig in like, I don't know, probably like 89. And yeah, it's been a while. I started here doing CCD, and I got my confirmation from here, and youth ministry, then I was in charge of the youth ministry, and that was like early 2000s.
I've been active in Transfiguration. I'm a lecturer. I've been since the 90s a lecturer during morning Mass. I've also usher on Sunday mornings. I've worked with the Buckley Foundation for the different fundraising activities for the Zydeco dances when they had those, the luncheons, all the activities they planned years ago to raise money for the church here, Transfiguration. I still continue because, like I said, the school is valuable. It's so important for our community and our children and families. And that's why I continue to support it and feel that it's very important.
Transfiguration, I love the people, I love the music, you know, I love the diversity. And I wouldn't say, what do you like? Well, I love. So for me, just coming here, the first time I came, I made the decision because I love music, and that kind of, you know, drew me into the experience of the people, and that still keeps me more passionate about the receptivity, the welcome, and all that. So I really felt when I came here that I was highly welcome, and that already opened me out to like and to love the people.
You don't know what liturgy is until you go to a parish like Transfiguration, and then it took me a long time, but usually we're kind of trained that if Mass isn't over in 45 minutes, you're talking too long. Well, there, if Mass lasted less than an hour, you didn't talk long enough, but it was just a delightful place to be, and I certainly feel delighted. The people, so accepting, so wonderful, and I really can't say anything bad about it.
Oscar Pratt, during that time, was the principal as well as the leader of the music. And then a young man named Chris Nuno was growing up and finishing high school, and he was a great piano player, so we invited him to start playing piano, and he took over for one of the masses. I think Oscar did the 9 o'clock. Can't remember exactly, or was it 10 o'clock? Maybe it was 10 o'clock, and Chris took over at 12 o'clock. And Chris, I know, is still working there. I think he even works at the school. So he's just been a wonderful addition to Transfiguration, sharing his talents and that God has blessed him with, and sharing them again with the rest of the students.
There was in the early days, you know, as we began to use African American music, spirituals, and in the liturgy, at first it was not always well taken, well received. And I remember one time our pastor, I think it was Father Hanley at the time, he said, okay, we have an confirmation, and the bishop's coming. And so I said, okay, Father, fine. What music you want me to do? He said, do the music you're doing. I said, the music I'm doing? He said, yes. That was, in other words, the spirituals and all that. That's what we were doing. So I said, okay, you know, so we did. I told the choir that was the first time that that bishop and the people he brought would be hearing this music, our music of our people. So I told him, I said, now we got to sing, do the best job we can because they may fire us. So we sang Mass, and we used to sing it in choir level at that time, you know, we went back. And as soon as the music stopped, the bishop's attendant came up. He said, the bishop wants to see you. I look at my choir and say, I guess this is it. And except that when he met me, he said, well, that was the most beautiful experience, musical experience he had, you know. And we were so relieved and happy. But it gave us the impetus to know that we were on the right track, and forever after that, we knew we were going in the right way.
From the very first time I attended to now, I keep coming back because of the music, because of the message, the warm feeling. I just love Transfiguration.
I keep coming back to Transfiguration because I think it's a great community. I love the choir and I love the people in here.
I also really appreciate the connection to the Black community and, you know, the effort to integrate Black music into Catholic Mass, which isn't really a thing in a lot of other places. So I think on a cultural level, it's really significant. And I also appreciate the opportunity that it gave me to sort of find my voice, I guess, with singing when I was younger. It gave me the opportunity to sing in front of people, which was something that I hadn't really done before.
My mother loved being here at Transfiguration. She loved the choir, and she especially loved, a good memory for me is Howlett Smith, or Smitty. And this man was just amazing. He was a jazz musician, composer, arranger, producer. He did wonderful, wonderful work. He played piano here, and he was a world-class whistler. And if you've never heard Amazing Grace whistled, it was beautiful, the way Howlett did it. For my mother's funeral, he whistled Amazing Grace. That was her favorite. And everybody who attended could not get over that because they'd never heard anybody do it like that.
So I do have a story to share about the School of Transfiguration. I remember when I first came here, and Mrs. Urema, at the time she was the principal, and she asked me would you like to do some piano lessons here at the school to get us started with some music? And I just remember that year was a wonderful year where I came in, and I remember I would be setting up all of the keyboards. I didn't have a music room, so I'd set up in the science room, science music. And I just remember walking around with all these keyboards, and the kids are just coming up to me, and it's like 7:30 in the morning, like, Mr. Nuno, why are you dripping with sweat? We haven't even started school yet. You know, so I'm just dripping with sweat, setting up all the equipment, you know. That first year was a good experience for me, and it was the beginning to something even more. You know, I remember the school was going through a lot of different things. There was a lot of and I just remember that in the beginning, you know, we had lots of donor recitals that we put on. Kids really helped me with a lot, you know, that year, and they were just learning. They were taking things up like a sponge because the arts was so new. We had music and we had dance. And going forward a few years, you know, I was able to help get an endowment for the music program, and ever since then it just took off, and you know, the enrollment went up. So I think that story is very special to me because at that time there was a lot behind the scenes that was going on, and you know, through a lot of prayer and through a lot of work that we all put in together as a community and staff and with the kids, you know, we really helped to keep this school alive.
My ministry is music. I am the drummer, so I play for Sunday Masses and different events that we might have or participate in with the choir. different groups, things like that.
Got in the Transfiguration Choir also in 1973, and I keep coming back because I like singing those special songs.
I've been looking for about a year for a new church home, and I felt incredibly at home and welcomed. I knew the songs, I knew the music. Thelma Foy, who is no longer with us, was really inviting and welcoming, and been here ever since.
It has always been Bishop Clark, who's now retired. But Bishop Ed Clark was in residence at Transfiguration for a while before he was a bishop. And he was a professor at the seminary up in Camarillo. But he would come on Sundays and help serve in the parish on Sundays. And he loved the folks at Transfiguration. And so when he became a bishop, he always wanted to make sure that African Americans would always feel at home at Transfiguration. That was a great concern for him, and I think rightfully so. Therefore, our role as pastor was to make sure that happened. So I think that's one of the specialties of Transfig, and its liturgy, guided by Oscar Pratt for so many years, and the choir. You know, they're all aging by now, but in its time, it was quite the choir, and they would often travel even other places to celebrate Black History Month or various events. So liturgy, the ability to utilize the African American spiritual sound for liturgy through the 70s. So I think Oscar was in the forefront of really showing that, yes, I can be an African American and I can be Catholic, and I don't have to compromise either. So that, I think, makes Transfiguration a very special place. It's liturgy.
Congratulations on the first 100 years.
Happy anniversary, Transfig.
Centennials are cool, but our goal is a bicentennial. Keep it going forever and ever. Amen.
Congratulations is in place for Transfiguration. It's amazing that the church has been here for 100 years. I think that's really, really special.
Happy anniversary to all the Transfiguration members.
It's 100 years, it's saying a lot. So happy anniversary, Transfiguration.
Congratulations, Transfiguration, on your 100 celebration, 100-year celebration.
Congratulations to everybody. It's the people who make the church, so it's really a celebration of the people here.
Happy anniversary, Transfiguration.
Happy 100th anniversary, Transfiguration.
Okay, it's a pleasure to have been here for all these years and with a beautiful group of people.
Happy anniversary, 100th year anniversary for this church. Thank you.
Happy anniversary, Transfiguration. I appreciate you. Loved every minute of all the years.
Happy anniversary, Transfiguration.
I'm so thrilled that we're still around.
Happy 100th anniversary, Transfiguration.
Joshua 19, stay strong and courageous.
Happy 100 years to the church family, and we love you guys.
It's mind-boggling. You have to wrap your mind around it. That, you know, just to wrap your mind around it. To be celebrating 100 years.
I hope everyone there has a wonderful celebration, enjoys the 100th anniversary, and may it be a launching pad to many, many, many more decades of life in Christ.
My message to the people of God, especially in this year that we celebrate 100th anniversary of the parish, is it is a new dawn.
Transfiguration, dazzling bright, lift up your voice.